By the end of this video, you're going to learn everything you need to know to make scoring touchdowns in College Football 25 easy. Passing 101, running 101, beating man and zone coverage, everything you need is going to be here. So if you want to score more touchdowns and win more games, this is the video for you. Let's get into it. So start with offense, and how do we actually choose our plays? Well, first, a lot of people go into coach suggestions, and I actually disagree with this super strongly, because if we take real football into account right here, in real football, everything is schemed together. So if I use coach suggestions right here, and let's say we call this ISO to start the game off, my next play is not going to be based off of anything that we just did. The next thing from coach suggestions, completely random. I want us to scheme our plays together. So instead, we're going to go over to the formations tab by using the right bumper. And here, you have a plethora of different formations. Now, I prefer things in the gun sets. And what I'm always looking for here when I'm choosing a formation is something that gives me some unique things, right? That could be alignment. Look at something like empty quads, where we have 4 wide receivers to the right. Or if we go to gun doubles right here, you know, we have a fake jet pass power. We have a jet touch pass. These are 2 things that you really can't get in other formations. You know, it's all very, very specific. We also have a read option. That's another type of run now where you just can't get it out of other formations. So if you look at something like gun doubles, the reason you might run this is because it gives you some unique advantages that you just don't have out of a lot of the other formations inside the game. And then think about this, right? We're in gun doubles. We're always, let's say we call most of our plays from this or other formations around this. Well, right here we have the gun touch, or we have the jet touch pass out of the gun doubles. Now we could go and call a read option from the exact same look. If we want to mimic the motion, we could, right? So here, we're going to call this. We're going to hand the ball off, right? Boom, we'll go down. Now we've established we have 2 plays from this look. Now we'll call Y cross, and you can kind of see how we're kind of scheming plays together, so the defense really never has an idea of what we're actually going to be calling. Now, do we get a dot right here? A, throw the laser beam, boom. Now, just like that, 3 plays in a row, defense now has absolutely no clue, and ideally, your formation has a lot of these style plays that you just keep building and building and building, right? And you've even seen, we have that jet touch pass, where we did the little pop pass to the wide receiver. Now, we're going to do the exact same motion. Now we're going to keep it with the QB. Now, whether or not we actually get yards on this, end up being pretty good. You can kind of see how easy it is to scheme things together. And this is going to give you a massive advantage over your opponent. And from here, you could also add in other formations, and you're just building that same idea, right? Essentially, think of every formation as a little mini scheme that you're building out of it, and all of them combined become a full scheme. Example would be, let's say we're here, and then we want to audible over to gun slot left, right? And let's say we have, 3 or 4 plays from this. You just keep building and building and building. That's the best way to start building your offense. If you got any kind of value from this video so far, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss future videos, and you'd be doing me a massive favor, because hitting subscribe tells YouTube, hey, you enjoyed this video, and it's going to push it to more college football players just like yourself who are just trying to have more fun on the game, win more games, and just understand this game that we all love playing a whole lot more. So again, if we've helped you out at all, consider just doing me a massive favor. Hit the subscribe button. Totally free. Let's get back to the video. So let's talk about one of the biggest skill gap things in College Football 25. We throw this ball right here. It's wide open. Everybody says it's a dot. Same defense, same offensive play. I'm going to throw the same ball, yet somehow this time it goes from being a dot to an interception. What's the difference right there? Well, we're going to break this down first. So let's hit the pause menu and let's go into our options, okay? This is a massive difference maker. Think about it. Think about what just happened. We threw a dot, then we threw a pick on the exact same ball. That's winning and losing games. Let's get our settings right. This is purely what works for me. Feel free to tinker with these. I just want you guys to have a basis of what I think is good and really easy, okay? So, passing mechanics. I want my passing type to be placement and accuracy. I used to say revamp. The game has changed a little bit since the beginning of the year. Now I recommend placement and accuracy for everybody. Passing slowdown off. Pass lead increase to none. Reticle speed to 7. And then user only for these right here, okay? Feel free to screenshot this, write this down, whatever it is. If you want to play around with it, you could. I just don't. This is what I personally use. Now, one of the biggest things with passing the ball, obviously there's making the reads, there's throwing to the open guy, but assuming we're at that point where we're throwing to the open guys, but for some reason the ball just isn't going where we think it's going, there's a good chance you have an issue with your pass leading. Now, notice the difference in where this ball's ending up from throw to throw. Right there, I led it up. Right here, I'm going to pass lead this down. Notice how my wide receiver catches it kind of lower. This time, he's going to catch it a bit higher. This is all with the left stick. You can push the left stick to pass lead. Now, this is huge because you're going to be leading your receiver. Think about in real life, if you ever played catch with somebody who's moving, you want them to catch the ball in stride, ideally, but more important than catching it in stride is actually catching the ball away from the defense, okay? So sometimes that could be you coming back to the ball. Let me show you an example here. Let's go a little drag route to Isaiah Bond over the middle of the field. Let's see how we're going to pass lead him. Right here, I'm going to pass lead him inside. I actually want him to catch that back shoulder. Why? Because if I pass lead this where he catches it in stride, he's going to get hit as soon as he catches the ball, right? So in this case, I actually don't want him to catch it in stride. That's a massive misconception a lot of people have. Instead, we're trying to pass lead it away from the defense. Notice the difference right there. That's all left stick, and I'm pushing it as I'm hitting his icon to throw the ball. Right here, we're going to pass lead this ball down, right? Because there's defense a little bit above him and not really outside of him. Or I'm sorry, not really underneath him. So we want to go down, and we're going to throw his corner out. There are times where no pass lead is fine. Right here actually is a good example of we could just throw RB without a pass lead at all. Right there, I lobbed it on accident. You want to bullet past that. And there we go. All with the left stick, okay? Very, very basic. Very, very easy. Now, there's different catch types, and this is very important. This is the next part of this we're going to talk about. Watch Isaiah Bond on this. I'm going to throw a possession catch. That's by holding A or X on PlayStation when you go to catch the ball. Now, to really get this catch type to activate, you want to actually click onto your receiver when the ball's in the air. So that's going to be B or circle. It's a little bit advanced, but I promise you this will change everything for you if you do it. So we're going to go throw Isaiah Bond, and we're going to try to possession catch. Notice how he got down. That's the key. Notice how he got down right when I caught the ball. Whereas this time, we're going to throw it, and I'm going to rat catch it. Notice how he ran with the ball after catching it. A rat catch is X or square on PlayStation. This is going to be what you use to get run after the catch. This, really, really good for the open field. Not great for this situation, right? You don't really want a rat catch right there. You might want a possession catch. Or we could aggressive catch it. So we have possession catch, that's A or X on PlayStation. We have rat catch, which is X or square on PlayStation. And we have the aggressive catch, which is Y or triangle on PlayStation. The aggressive catch is great for when you're throwing a ball into traffic a little bit. You're going to actually attack the ball a little bit more. Think of it like that. Aggressive catch is going to be a lot of you attacking the ball like it's a rebound. We go here. We're going to attack the ball a little bit of a bad throw. We'll see if we can get it again right here. Boom. Bang. Notice right there, we really attack that ball. That's because I click on when the ball's in the air by hitting B or circle, and then I attack the ball by hitting Y or triangle to get that aggressive catch. Notice same thing right here. I don't attack the ball that time. I actually get a way different catch animation. This is really important because on the sideline, you might want, a possession catch, but if there's a lot of traffic there, right, let's say it's kind of a tight ball, you want to aggressive catch this ball, right? B or circle, bang, aggressive catch. And I'm pushing that left stick down when I click on to go attack that ball. It's a big deal and a lot of people just don't do this, and it makes a world of difference. Because again, think of it. We can throw this ball, and if we get a bad pass lead on it, we do it incorrectly. It could be an incompletion. It could be an interception. All that good stuff, right? Let's go to this drag that we've thrown a few times now. This could be an easy catch, or we can make him throw it into traffic. Super, super easy stuff here. Now, when it comes to actual, like, what type of passes do I like to make? I bullet pass almost everything, okay? So that's usually holding down the icon, and I'm trying to get it into this, like, blue area, okay? If we kind of, if we slow this down right here, you kind of see that meter on the throw. We're trying to get it to this area right here. If we instead just tap RB, you'll see more of a lob. That's not really what I want to do. And if you hold down the icon the entire way and just like never let up, you'll get some more inaccurate passes. You're more at risk for an inaccurate. So you want to kind of time it like we've been showing, trying to get these kind of blues or greens right around that area to be able to get some good velocity on that pass. So let's talk what it takes to have a good run game in College Football 25. And we got to use future Heisman winner Ashton Jeanty. Future at the time of the recording of this video. Now, first tip I got to give you guys, this one you might already know, but I got to emphasize it. You do not want to be holding the right trigger, which is turbo, until you're in the open field. So by holding turbo, you're going to go faster, which means you're going to have less room to cut or less mobility to actually like cut and change direction. And two, it triggers sheds faster. So let's go through a few runs. All left stick, all left stick, all left stick. And once I decide that I want to try cutting all the way to the outside or getting to the edge, I'm holding the right trigger then, okay? So let's go through it again. Left stick, left stick, left stick. Now I'm holding turbo. Right after I make that cut, I'm trying to get through that hole. I'm holding turbo then. Let's go again right here. Left stick, left stick, left stick, turbo. Right, because now I'm trying to commit. When I change directions right there, then we might try to get off of turbo. Left stick, left stick, left stick, turbo. Right, guys, see that hole? We're trying to go through. I'm holding turbo when I hit those spins. A lot of the ball carrier moves are actually better when you're holding turbo, which is that right trigger. I love the spins, and I love the jukes in this game. So that's right stick for the jukes, B or circle for the spins. Boom. Right there, I'm holding turbo when I do that spin. Usually gives you a little bit of a better spin. Again, one really fast. Left stick, left stick. Now I'm holding turbo. I've committed. I want to get to that edge. Turbo all the way right here. And with the run game, you got to be willing to use the left stick and cut in different directions. If you've noticed, we've called the same inside zone over and over again, but sometimes we've taken it out. Sometimes we've taken it inside. We could actually cut this all the way back in if we wanted to. And that's all left stick, right? We could do something like, obviously you wouldn't do. Maybe, come here, Travis. Oh, no. Boom. Okay. Well, he's a dog. It's all left stick, though. And you got to be trying to read blocks and read the holes. And then you got to commit. What I've seen some people do is like two things that people will do wrong. A lot of people will only run like into one direction. Like they're never willing to cut back and forth. Or they like get too hesitant right here and they don't commit, right? They try doing too much almost. So it's like boom, boom, boom. And like, and right there, I mean, it works out. But like, jeez, you don't want to like be super hesitant. Like you do need to make a decision and commit, right? Boom. If you get, even if you're wrong, you could like stuff like that can happen where it's not the end of the world. You just don't want to be like, ooh, ooh. And again, like we are getting some crazy blocks right here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Good job, boys. So that's another big thing. Next thing I want to talk about is the idea of just basic counting numbers, which when it comes to that, you know, usually we'll do something like out of, let's go single back ace double wing, just for the sake of this. And let's go, do we have a stretch? Okay, cool. Halfback stretch. Let's go random defense. So very basic. We just want to count numbers on each side of the center. So if we go here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people who are essentially in the box to the right of the center. And then on the left of the center, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who are in the box to the left of the center. Now on offense, we have the same amount of blockers on both sides. So we want to run the ball to the right. Counting numbers is something that is incredibly helpful, just because you want to give yourself numbers advantages as much as you can. You can always, or a lot of runs, especially under center or pistol, you can flip using the right stick. So we do something like this, just flick the right stick, and you can flip it either way. Or if you wanted to, you can audible by pressing X or square on PlayStation and tapping the right trigger. This will totally flip your formation. So you do have that ability right there. When it comes to actual run calls, there's some runs that are just bad in this game. So things like counters, like halfback counter weak, gotta have a lot, like it's gonna be tough to have success with it. This is a very slow handoff. Anytime you have these kind of slow handoff runs, it can be hit or miss. Pulling guards in this game can also be hit or miss. Sometimes they don't do a great job of getting across. Sometimes they're a little bit slow. Like you see right there, it's hard to even wait for them to get across because of how slow those guards can be. Just something to keep in mind. So I try to avoid pulling guard runs unless it's a trap or a power. Counters, I really try to avoid. Sweeps that pull guards, I really try to avoid. Like power O right here, we can do that. My favorite though are dives, stretches, for under center, inside zones for shotgun are great. Read options are great for shotgun. And then any kind of RPO, I'm a big fan of. I love having the option to, especially like RPO bubbles. So something like, we'll go something like this right here. I think if you're going to run the ball from shotgun a lot in this game, I think you should be trying to run RPOs just because you don't want them to be able to commit hard to the run. And you don't really lose much by having the RPO, right? Like you make them, because the thing is, if you were running inside zone right there, those wide receivers are just going to block. And instead, just by doing an RPO, you're making everybody over there have to commit to defend the pass anyways. Wow. We are, okay. You're making those guys have to commit to defending the pass anyways. Or you just pass it to them. So, like, they're getting eliminated regardless if they're being blocked or not. So, I just like that extra option in the RPOs. Same with, like, read options. I think that's another great one just because you're able to keep the defense a little bit more honest. And you help with numbers advantages. The thing with read options that sometimes people don't always think about, let's go into a read option right here. We can kind of break this down. Let's go wide lead read option right here. Also, for shotgun runs, I like my halfback being on the strong hand of my quarterback. The handoffs can be a little bit faster unless he's offset. If he's offset, doesn't matter. So right here, think about it. How many, like they have 4 defensive linemen, right? So you'd probably say we have to block all 4. Well, if it's a read option, we're actually going to purposely leave one guy unblocked, meaning that he's our read, but then we have our resources to block, to have more people blocking the people we need to block, right? So instead of on an inside zone, number 65 or 85, who's on a split block right here, would be kicking out this defensive end on the right. Here instead, we're going to purposely unblock him, right? So boom, and now we're just going to end up keeping it and getting a big gain. Just another way to help keep the defense super honest in the run game. So there's a major difference when it comes to attacking zone coverage as opposed to attacking man coverage. Zone coverage is about route combos, and man coverage is about actual routes. Let's focus on zone coverage at first here, okay? Let's look at the right side. We have a very basic, what's called a flood concept going over here. We have a clear out route, which is a steep fade. We have a corner route, which is going to attack the intermediate sideline. And then we have a flat route, or a table route, it's called sometimes, from the halfback, which is going to attack the short sideline. Look at these three routes on the right side and see how they all complement each other, right? They're all essentially going to attack different levels of the right sideline. If we look at a basic zone defense right here, here we have a cover 3. Same idea would apply to cover 2, cover 4, and really anything else. We have here one flat zone, okay? This curl flat, he is responsible for the flat. And then we have one outside deep zone, okay? So think about this. Let's look at the offensive play, and let's look at the defensive play. We have 3 routes attacking that right sideline. How many people do we have on that right sideline on defense? 2. Essentially, what's going to happen here is that we are isolating the defenders on that right sideline, forcing them to choose between the different routes that we have. And then from there, we're just going to execute and choose the route who's open, right? A lot of people fall into this trap of making predetermined reads. You don't want to do that. I like to try to identify man or zone pre-snap, and then if I think they're blitzing or not, which is another video to talk about. But we want to just purely execute on what they give us, because we know that our route combo is sound fundamentally. So if that's the case, all we need to do is just make the read, right? Let's go hut. Let's see. This time, they commit underneath, and we have B over top for a touchdown. Now, that we just got hit as we threw, but you get the idea nonetheless. This time we go, same exact play, and we're going to throw A again. The CPU will have issues against corner routes and stuff like that a little bit deeper, but you could see something like, let's do something like this maybe, where, you know, instead of hitting that corner route, we're actually going to have an opportunity to hit these, the flat underneath. And the defense, we were just not getting that opportunity at all, but you'd just be making that high-low read on the sideline. Let's see another example of this. Well, a really good example could be something like this right here, where now we're getting a little bit of a high-low in the middle of the field with this deep dig route on the left side and this drag route on the left side. Because let's think about it. In the middle of the field, we're going to have 2 yellow zones. If they go low to defend this drag, right, if Harris plays this drag, well, guess what? We have this in route right above him. And if he goes back to play the in route, we have the drag right underneath him. And we can actually see this in real time. We snap this ball. Let's go here. Oh, he went underneath. We're able to hit the in route. Now, there's better route combos than to do it literally just like that. How I would probably do this is create more of an actual mesh. So a play looks like this right here, where we have double drags. So now we're isolating them not only high-low, but we're also going to push things horizontally too. Let's snap this ball. Let's see. Oh, they're playing underneath. Cool. We're going to go over top, and we're actually going to hit him with a high ball holding left bumper because we want to get over top of that guy, okay? Let's go here again. Where are they playing? Oh, they're playing a little bit underneath. Oh, actually, yeah, cool. Awesome, they're playing underneath. If they were playing over top, guess what? I would hit the drag, right? Let's see if we can actually get them to play over top for a second. Let's go here. Same play. And, okay, they are not... Do I have my zone drop set, maybe? I'm kind of confused why my zones aren't dropping at all. I don't think I set zone drops, though. Did I? I did. Okay. I did not. I'm pretty sure that was from another practice mode. Like, session. Whatever. Let's go here, though. Right, we have that mesh. Oh, they're playing a little bit over top right there. Well, we're going to hit this drag. Right? So you're just isolating defenders, making them choose, and you want your route combos to complement each other. 2 really easy route combos went over, right? Steal this, steal that flood concept. There's a bunch more that we can do, but this is the generalized idea. And now, CTE, and let's talk about beating man. So when it comes to beating man coverage, we want routes that move and that have cuts in them, because the cuts are where we're going to actually win against man coverage. Now, one of my favorite man beating plays as just a base play is here inside the Arizona playbook. This is also available in a few other playbooks. Let me choose a man coverage play. It's out of the gun tight Y off, and it's going to be the play called tight end corner, okay? TE corner. Now, when we choose this, I want you to focus on McMillan on this flipped zig. I call it a return route, where he's going to win at a very high percentage. Now, a very important thing to keep in mind with man coverage is that it is my man on your man on my man. And what I mean by that is that if you think about this in real life, if two guys are going up against each other in man to man, sometimes they'll win, sometimes they'll lose. And in the game, every route and every player and every matchup has a probability rating, essentially. And we don't actually know this probability, but what that means is that this return route, while it gets open often, it actually won't get open every single time, even against the exact same defense. And he could get open differently. Sometimes he gets a lot of separation, sometimes he doesn't. A good example of this would be this corner route from Burnett. This is a route that has a low probability of beating man. It can beat man, but it's lower. Let's go A right here. Let's watch him. Right here, he doesn't win, right? He's obviously bad. Maybe we ag him? No. But he can win at times. If we keep on calling this, we should see him win once or twice. And actually, we kind of see that right here. Yeah, we're able to get barely a step. Not the best, but if we go here again, if we just call us a few times, we should see him win pretty well. And he's actually getting super bagged. But we'll call it again just to see. He can win. Let's see. Boom. There we go. See, that time, then he wins right there, right? So it's like, he can win. It's just a low probability. And all routes have this probability. You know, corner routes, especially, usually have a lower probability. See right there, the return route wasn't as open, but it was still open. So even right there, the distance was closed. What we want to do is a couple of good routes that you can always keep in your back pocket against man coverage. Return routes, these are stock on certain plays. This would go into my choosing a formation, choosing a play category that we talked about earlier. Halfback Texas routes, which you can hot route. I also think like deep in routes or slants from your tight end are really good. And again, we're just trying to find routes that have a high probability to beat man. So let's watch this tight end route. Instead of having it on that corner route that really doesn't win very often, have it on a deep in, and that's going to win at a high percentage. So now we pair some of these routes together. Okay, let's do something like this. And we'll even put a zig out here. Right here, we have three really good man-beating routes. We have the zig. He wins at a high percentage. We have the return route. He wins at a high percentage. And we have this deep in route. He wins at a high percentage. The streak is just to keep them honest deep. Let's go here. Zig didn't win, but the return route did. And the in route, he did at first, but he didn't win at the end. Again, probability based. So right there, we should have hit the return route, right? Let's go here again. Zig's not winning, but our return route is. Cool. We're able to hit him. He's the guy who's going to be winning. He's a very high percentage route, so we're able to hit him consistently. But you will find times where it's that in route that's going to win, right? Let's go right here. This time, in route wins, right? So we don't have to worry about return route. I don't even know if that return route was open. That's the idea behind beating man coverage. You want to pair some of these good routes together. Just be able to help yourself out the best that you can. I got something like this. And we can even, you know, if we wanted to, we could go halfback on like a streak or something. He can win over top potentially. This time, look who won. It was a zig on the right side. He hasn't gotten open yet. That time he did, right? Hopefully that explains the concept of beating man coverage and some of the routes that we should be trying to pair together. And again, like you can do a bunch of different things. You can go double drags here and have something like this. Feel free to screenshot this route combo. This is the same mesh play we ran against zone. Now we're doing it against man, and this still would do a good job against man. Some routes or some route combos and plays beat man and zone. I call them everything beaters. And a little fun fact for you. One, you want everything beaters to be a big part of your offense because it takes a lot of the stress out of like predicting what they're in, right? Because then it's just about executing because you're going to be able to beat man and zone. You just have to see who's open, right? And two, on Civil.gg, most of our schemes are filled with a lot of everything beaters. So we take a lot of the worry about that out of the game for you. And instead, it's just about like these plays. We just need to execute, right? We need to identify the coverage while the play is going on and then execute the actual play. It makes the game very, very easy. Boom. Boom. This play would work against man, zone. We've already shown that. People always ask me, Civil, how do you know what coverage it is, right? Like a pre-snap, I'm trying to tell if it's cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, man-to-man. What do I do? The fact of the matter is, if you're playing somebody online who's good, this is really for my online guys, and some against the CPU, but still, you never really can tell because let's look at this defense right here. What coverage am I in? What coverage do you think I'm in? I'm asking you. What coverage? Cover 2? Cover 4? Looks like one of those? No. Cover 0. Okay? I just proved the point. You don't know. You cannot tell pre-snap. And so what I'm getting at here is that I actually am a big believer that a lot of people put way too much emphasis on trying to identify coverage pre-snap when it's just not realistic to do this in the online setting. Now, that doesn't mean there's not value in trying to do this and, try to process that information, but I don't think it's the first thing you should be looking for. Instead, I always look for I look for these two things, okay? One, I want to think, is it blitz or no blitz, okay? And mind you, you could be wrong about this, but you can get kind of an idea. In this type of front, while the actual play call is a blitz, I'm not as worried about a blitz as I would be if it was something like, let's do this. Right here, I'm like, oh, he might be sending the dogs at me, right? So in this situation, I'm preparing for the blitz a lot more. Now, with that being said, the reason that's important is because now I'm a little bit more focused on either setting up my pass protection, blocking my halfback, or paying attention to my hot reads, which might be a drag, a halfback flat, something like that, than I would be here. Because even if I'm wrong in this situation, right, and I don't think this is a blitz, pre-snap I don't. Even if I'm wrong, because of their alignment, that blitz is going to take time to actually come in. You actually see that, right? I have enough time for this corner route to fully develop, and I can hit him, just need to hold on to the ball. Whereas here, if we get this alignment's much scarier, and if we snap this ball, I'm not going to have as much time for that corner route to develop. So here, I'm thinking blitz, because if it is a blitz, I'm screwed. If they're backed off, I'm not as worried, because if it is a blitz, I can still have time to make the correct reads, if that makes sense, okay? We always want to try to identify pre-snap what their defensive front looks like, and then if we think it's blitz or no blitz. And we find out that we're wrong, right? That they're blitzing from something or they're not blitzing from something, then we can just adjust, right? We can start to say, like, we can pick up on our opponent's tendencies. Let's look at something like this. Here, I'm terrified of a blitz, right? I'm saying probably a blitz, so I'm looking to either block my halfback, set up that pass protection, or get my hot reads ready. But you know what could happen right here? They could not blitz. And I'd be like, oh, they're not blitzing. So you know what I would do now? I would use that information and I would start to try to pick up on my opponent's tendencies, right? That's football, baby. Like, that is football, baby. That's what gets me excited. Right here, and then boom, I'm wrong. Now we get into a chess match. Maybe I set up protection every single time. Maybe I'm ready for my hots every single time, right? And then, wow. Really? Yo, that is... Okay, there we go. So we're looking blitz, no blitz, right? Then in terms of coverage, you don't know what coverage people are, especially if they're making adjustments or coverage shells, stuff like that. What I try to do is really identify man or zone, which there are some tells pre-snap, especially if you're in like some kind of trips formation. So if we go here and we go to gun trips or something, this just kind of like, if you see DBs lined up right over top of wide receivers, like matched up alignment-wise right on top of them, there's a good chance, there's a good chance it's man. Now, that doesn't 100% mean it is, but it's a good tell that it's man, okay? Especially if you see something like this where they're super overloaded. Another easy way to tell if it's man coverage or not, and I don't do this a ton, but a lot of people like it, is to send somebody in motion, and then you can send them back. To do that, hold B or circle, use the D-pad to go select somebody, and then just hit the D-pad to send them in motion. And if they follow like that, man coverage, okay? If they don't follow, it's zone coverage. Pretty easy way. And then from that, the reason it's so important is because a lot of our play calls are based on whether or not we're trying to beat man coverage or zone coverage. Or we do have those everything beaters we talked about, which should be a big part of our play calling system, where it doesn't matter what they call. But just something to keep in mind, right? Blitz, no blitz, man, or zone. Those are the big things. Then from there, we start picking up on our opponent's tendencies, what coverage they're running, etc., etc. I don't want to say that trying to identify your opponent's coverage is useless, because it's not useless. It's just, I find a lot of people who get this wrong because they're playing somebody who disguises their coverage. And because they're wrong, they get like paralyzed and they can't play offense anymore. So for me, let's just dumb it down, right? You might be saying, okay, Civil, but what about cover 2, cover 3, cover 4? Like, what about that, Civil? Okay. Well, if we run a route combo like this on the left side, guess what? This is going to beat cover 2, cover 3, and cover 4. So if we just identify zone and then we execute the play, guess what? We're going to be fine. Proof right here, wide open. Just execute. Call good plays, execute. massive. So let's talk about all of the adjustments and different things that you can do on offense pre-snap that can give you an advantage in different ways. So first and foremost, if we press Y or triangle, we're going to bring up the select receiver menu. This is going to allow us to do some pretty cool things. And in this case, let's actually select our right slot wide receiver, who is A in this case. Let's select him. And now we're going to bring up the hot route menu. Now here we have a plethora of different hot routes that we can make. And you can go through these, mess around with them. Some of my favorite hot routes to do are going to be slants that look like this. If we look at A, let me block my halfback. So, look like this from A. I love zig routes as well. I'm a big fan of the deep cross and the post. And then also, you can't go wrong with the slot drag, which looks like this. I actually think this is like the most underrated, powerful route. And of course, we do a lot of streaks as well. Very easy. Now, a cool thing you can do in this game is something called custom stemming, which people still, even though we're 5 months into the game, a lot of people aren't doing this at a high clip. So let me tell you exactly how to custom stem and where this could be useful. Let's bring up the receiver screen and let's select A again right here. Let's put him on a little in route. So this in looks like this right here. Now, I actually want him, it's 3rd and 15, right? My opponent is going to be playing the sticks right at the 15-yard line. So what am I going to do? I'm actually going to bump this guy all the way up to about 20 yards down the field. And again, this is like a hypothetical. And now we're actually be able to hit him super, super deep. Damn, he was actually almost open too if we waited a second longer. Now, that'd be like a situation where you might want to use something like that custom stem, right? So how are we doing this? Because look at A. We are completely changing this route to go different depths. Well, put him on a route that has a cut in it. Things like, not only just cuts. It's only certain routes that can custom stem. Things like ins, curls, hitches, posts, corners. It's a lot of them, just not all of them. Let's put him on an in route, and then let's reselect him and hold the left bumper. Okay, this would be L1 on PlayStation. Hold it, and then while holding it, push that left stick up or down. You can also use the D-pad if you want to do it like in increments like this, but I like using the left stick. I get to pick exactly, whereas the D-pad will be 5-yard increments. So just keep that in mind if you want to do something like that. So it's just an option that you have. There's a lot of different situations where something like this can be helpful. Right here, though, you see like the deep in route. You could not create that route without a custom stem. I'll use this a lot for post routes as well. So if we put A on a post, this post is kind of going deep downfield. And if we snap this and we look to throw him, he's just super deep. Like, you can throw it, but he can get close to deep zones. And you don't always want that. So instead, what I would do is stem him down just so he's not running as deep. He's still pretty skinny, but this will make him not run as deep and could potentially help open him up against different deep zones that was almost a laser beam. So it's an easy way to go about hot routing. Now, slot wide receivers will have different hot routes than outside wide receivers, who will have different hot routes than tight ends, who will have different hot routes than halfbacks. Each alignment or each position is going to have a few different hot routes, okay? So keep that in mind. I think a lot of the plays in College Football 25, usually you'll need to make 1 or 2 hot routes too, just to create good route combos. Just something to keep in mind. And you always play around with that stuff. Now, instead of hitting Y or triangle to open up the receiver screen, by the way, you can click the right stick in to get rid of that menu. Hit LB. Or I'm sorry, hold left bumper. Hold left bumper. My fault. Hold left bumper to bring up the pass protection menu. This right here is where you get to do different things to actually help pick up blocks or pick up blitzes. Truth be told, a lot of people who are playing online or a lot of people who are playing offline, you don't really need to do this that often. There's not many great blitzes that are just stock in this game that require something like this to be done. But if you wanted to, you could do half slides or full slides with your offensive line. Now, half slide is, if we do that, we're just going to use the right stick. Half slide is going to be only half of our offensive line. Can we get the player? There we go. Sliding to that way. It's going to be good if we have like a slot corner blitz going to the left or something like that. A full slide will be everybody on our offensive, or full slide, there we go, will be everybody on our offensive line sliding that way. And that's going to be good if they're like super overloading the left side. Just something to keep in mind, okay? That full slide, notice what that full slide just did. It just let that guy come totally free because that right tackle full slid to the left, okay? So I only use full slides. I actually really never use them, but I would use them if someone was like super overloading one side of the field. Even then, not something I would really do. Now, if we bring up that same pass protection menu up again, if we hit A or X on PlayStation, now we can actually identify the mic. So I don't have to hold anything. Notice there's this little M icon on the screen. We can use the left left stick and move this guy around. This could be helpful in the run game because if someone's shooting the gap with their user, this will help your offensive line pick them up. A lot of people say it doesn't. I'm telling you, as someone who has played this game for a lot of money for a very long time, it does. Okay, even like EA will even say that this doesn't work in the run game. We maybe someday I'll make a video showcasing it, us testing it. It does, and even if it doesn't, if someone's shooting a run, no harm in trying, I guess. Then, right? So, nonetheless, this is an easy way. This is also gonna do a good job at picking up certain blockers or certain blitzers. And if someone's like user defensive line pass rushing you and coming in free a ton, IDing them as a mic is a good idea as well. Just a few different things. Now, if we hold left bumper and go down on the right stick, we can get this plus icon. This is a double team. This is great for if they have an absolute dog of a pass rusher on the defensive line or their user pass rushing you a ton. I love doing it for this. You could also double team edge defenders by, just tap A or X to select that guy. And this can help you with rolling out because that guy's going to get double teamed. And now you'll have an easier path to roll out. Just some pretty basic and easy stuff that you could do here before the snap to help optimize your plays a little bit. This rarely is going to be the difference in winning and losing a ton of games, but in certain close games against two similarly skilled opponents, doing this stuff correctly can make a massive difference. And I wanted you guys to have full awareness of this so you can use it in your game as you see fit. If you found value in this video, you want to learn what plays should you actually be calling that are going to optimize, that are going to help you beat man coverage, zone coverage, everything you need that you just have to execute and be a dog. How do you scheme things together? You should check out my website, civil.gg. You can use code CIVIL30 and get a cool 30% off right now. The link to that is in the top of the description. We have over 1,000 active members right now. We have a massive community. We've been doing this for, I think, 4 years now. I've been doing it for like 6, but Civil GG has been a thing for 4 years. 96% of our members say they've won more games since joining. It is a place you want to be if you want to win more games in college football 25.